This video we're gonna go through supply and marginal cost, and this video is just mainly based on these two blackboards or green boards. They are the supply cost and minimum supply, and the individual supply and market supply. So let's just go through them. Uh, Firms make a profit when they receive more from the sale of a good or service than the cost of production, and that's just intuition. And consumers distinguish between value and price, while producers distinguish between cost and price. And remember that value was what the consumers get, and price is what the consumers have to pay. Producers distinguish between cost, what it costs for them to make, and the price, which is the same definition. Now, marginal cost is the cost of producing one more unit of a good or service, and the marginal cost is the minimum price that producers must receive in order to induce them to offer one more unit of a good or service for sale. Now, the minimum supply price also determines supply. So we already see here a relation, an indirect relation between supply and marginal costs through the minimum supply price. The supply curve is also called marginal cost curve, and the market supply curve is the sum of products willingly produced by producers. And we'll see some of that in an example I'll do in the next video, but for now we just gotta know definitions. And lastly, the market supply curve is also called or equal to the marginal social cost curve, which we denote as MSC curve. Now, the individual supply and market supply definitions are pretty similar to what we already went through with what we went through here, the consumer surplus. And individual supply is the relationship between the price of a good and the quantity supplied by one producer. And the key word here is one producer. That's individual supply. Market supply is, as you would have guessed, the relationship between the price of a good and the quantity supplied by all producers in the market. Now, market supply curve is the horizontal sum of the individual supply curves and is formed by adding the quantity supplied by all the producers at each price. And that is pretty similar to the market demand curve that we have here. And I'm sure that without going through the example that I'm going to go through in the next video, you already have a faint idea of how it's going to look like. But other than that, oh yeah, the next example is going to deal with Wendy's and Arby's being the only producers of burgers. But yeah, other than that, this is the end of this video. Please rate, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys later in the next video. Thanks for watching.